Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Last time we were in court, we proved that Valerie is a necromancer, and now we are doing more investigation because we don't have any proof that Wallace technically didn't do it. But we did find out that he might be a little bit sussier than we thought. And now we need to go find Steelwind. I forget her first name. We should have enough information by now. Let's have a talk with the prosecutor. Please, just tell me what's wrong. Are you mad at me? I'm not mad, okay? Can we just get to work? The twins' voices rang up in the kitchen. They sounded like they were in an argument. You think they're okay? It sounds private. We shouldn't get involved. I guess you're right. Slowly closed the door to the library and kept my mind on the investigation. I wanna know. Perfect. Fine. Do you wanna know what I think? You don't get to say that you hate magic. Look at how many problems it's causing for us. Sorry. Every once in a while, like, if I, like... sometimes it seems like if I'm, like, just starting up the game, every once in a while, it'll just, like, freeze up a little bit, and I don't know why. Yeah, for this dumb job, none of this even matters for you. What? Those people from the church always say that mages are chosen by the divine, right? And they're right. You don't get to complain about being better than me, Val. I'm not better than you. Yes, you are, and I'm sick of pretending you're not. You were helping Jan while I was jealous of how easy I thought this job was. You outed yourself as a mage trying to save Catherine Bloody Bellwether. Tina, that's not... I hate how much I'm holding you back. I know you. I know how hard you've been working at a library. You're destined for great things. Tina, I haven't learned anything. Oh, come on. Don't give me that. You've been heading straight to the library after work for years. Yeah, and I still haven't learned anything. What? I can't wrap my head around how it all works. I've been trying for years. I don't understand Aether. I don't understand spell formulas. It's like they're speaking another language. I can do magic, but I'm nothing like the students here. But you know healing magic. It's the most basic spell. Children in the therapy program learned that in their first class. It took me years to even figure that out. But she is self-taught, though. Is this where her and Celeste become buddies if they're not straight-up murderers? Because, like, Celeste is also self-taught, but it seems like Celeste just, like, picks it up weirdly super fast. Why didn't you ever tell me about this? Because magic is the only thing I have. You're better than me at everything. What? I'm not. I'm always making mistakes and forcing you to clean up after me. We only have this job because you begged the headmaster to hire me with you. You're amazing. The students here are spoiled aristocrats and they love your food. They can't even fry an egg right. You're not the one holding us back. You really think my cooking is that good? I don't think I could live without eating your food every day. Remember when I was just learning to cook at the orphanage? We were just a pair of dumb kids, but you were there with me every step of the way. You were there for me. I would have never gotten this good if you weren't always with me. Tina, I'm sorry I never told you this sooner. I could never do this without you. Neither could I. I'm sorry for being so stupid before. It's okay, I was also being... We should get started on that soup. Right, can you help me grab all the leftover meat from the freezer? Oh, you're back. We've uncovered a few things during our investigation. Steelwind, are you acquainted with a student named Miriam Frega? She shifted slightly. It was subtle, but I could see her discomfort. I said it before, Mr. Cuthbert. I won't fall for an obvious bluff. It's not a bluff, Steelwind, and I'll prove it using the evidence we've gathered. Let's argue! Steelwind was paranoid for whatever reason. It was due to the involvement of Miriam Frega. If I could convince her to reveal why she was being so secretive, she might give me some more information. Let's do it!
Although I kind of suck at these. You've been behaving strangely, Steelwind. Even the Knights of the Inquisition have noticed. Just tell me the truth. Why are you being so paranoid?
I'm not sure what you're trying to imply, Mr. Cuthbert. I've prosecuted the defendant the same way I always have.
Hold on. You've ordered the Knights to stay away from the crime scene, and you've even taken it upon yourself to conduct the investigation yourself. This is not normal behavior for a prosecutor.
I took these actions because the Inquisition is incompetent. How could I possibly trust them with anything?
The Knights are incompetent, but even you can see the value of delegation. During Celeste's case, you delegated tasks to the Inquisition. You could have easily investigated the McCoy Tavern yourself. This academy is huge. You wouldn't conduct your investigation this way unless you had a good reason.
Then why don't you enlighten me?
Oh, okay, this is just us showing evidence. This isn't the rock, paper, scissors aspect.
What would cause me to behave so strangely?
Four pillars. You know that the Inquisition is corrupt and will bend to nobility, so what would happen if a powerful noble was publicly involved in this case? With that noble's influence, they'd probably order the Inquisition to conceal their involvement. A high-profile noble in this case is involved in this case, Steelwind, and I believe that noble is Miriam Frega.
Again with this, you think you bluff me by throwing out the names of random nobles? Not every noble is a malevolent criminal like Garrick Pierce. I've said it before and I'll say it again.
Yes, it does.
Nothing about this case has anything to do with House Frega.
Now, how do you explain this, Steelwind? The commander told us that you were following a lead in the locker room yesterday. We investigated the lockers of the students from the Four Pillar families, and we found stains of blood in a locker with Miriam Frega's ID number. It was presumably left by a bloody object. The bloody object must have been taken by someone, and you became extremely paranoid after you found something in the locker room. If I had to guess, I'd say you took the bloody object as evidence.
And what evidence do you have to support these outrageous claims? What? The only thing you have is evidence of a blood stain. There's a myriad of explanations for that. Everything you mention is pure speculation. I could have found any number of things in that room, or possibly nothing at all. I feel like threatening isn't gonna work. Let's go with logic, because I feel like logic is going to be the thing that, like, appeals to her the most. Because, like, the whole wrong of it, but it's like, the blood is the most notable thing. And if you were to compare that probably with the massive blood, all the blood that was found in the Bellwether's body, then it would probably match. Let's not be coy, Steelwind. Anyone can tell that the bloodstain is the most notable thing in that room. How are you so sure? You weren't there with me during my investigation. Blah, blah, blah.
We'll threaten. You found an object in the room. You found an object in the locker with Miriam Frega's nameplate on it. If you don't present what you found to the court, I'll have no choice but to pull the owner of that locker onto the stand.
That's ridiculous. We both know that locker in question belongs to Wallace Nightgrave.
Can you unequivocally prove that, Steelwind? Because the way I see it, there's a lot of room for doubt there. Enough doubt for me to pull Lady Frega onto the witness stand. But if I had more context, maybe I wouldn't have to resort to that.
I feel like the logic could work, but I guess also threatening
makes sense. Brow furrowed a bit. She was searching for a counter-argument, but she just exhaled in resignation. I finally got her.
Yay! Well played, Mr. Cuthbert. I suppose I don't have a choice, do I? Just so we're clear, I wasn't acting to protect the nobility. But I'll admit that Miriam Frege was the other witness who saw Bellwether that day.
I see. I had some suspicions, but
There's also another matter.
Steel went tense once again. She was still hesitant.
When I was investigating the body, I found this.
Okay, tiny pack folder containing several documents. The documents contain evidence detailing the multiple instances of plagiarism, fraud, bribery of the school officials, and various other offenses against my medium Frege. Are we honestly not surprised? How are we not surprised? What the?
Looks like Miriam's been cheating.
Why would Bellwether have something like this?
And the way it's arranged in this envelope, in this folder, I think it might have been blackmail. Miriam Frege is considered a prodigy in the practice of conjuration magic. She's won a litany of awards and will most definitely graduate with honors. If these files were to reach the public, it would absolutely ruin her reputation. Do you think that the professor was trying to threaten her? It appears so. And I discovered that several elements of the case were still unknown. When I found this, that's when I found this in Walsnaker's locker.
Belonged to House Frege, but it was reported stolen weeks before the murder.
It's very likely that this was the murder weapon. This rapier is a valuable family heirloom for House Frege, and a few weeks ago, Miriam reported that the rapier was stolen from her room. But why was it found in Wallace's locker?
Not that I'm complaining, but why didn't you present this in court?
To be honest, I'd like to avoid involving House Frege by any means necessary. I knew it! You're just protecting her, aren't you? Miss McCoy, do you recall how Wyvern justice system works? To acquit a defendant, you need unequivocal proof that they didn't commit the crime. To do that, you either need a solid alibi,
or we need to prove that someone else committed the crime.
What do you suppose will happen if you bring Miriam Frege onto the stand? House Frege won't allow one of its members to be indicted in a court of law. They'll plant and forge evidence to implicate your defendant, and they'll use the Inquisition to do so. Even I wouldn't be able to stop them, should it come to that.
So that's why you've been keeping them away from the investigation.
Can't you do anything? I thought the Steel Winds were powerful too. I don't have the support of my house. Right now, I'm just a prosecutor, nothing more. Steelwind, you know that this isn't fair for us. Just do nothing and let us win.
Celeste.
If we can't go after Miriam, then you can at least help us save Wallace. I'm not going to do that. Why? What if Miriam Frege is the real killer? Her sword is the murder weapon and Bellwether was trying to blackmail her. I seem to recall another case where a person's innocent sword was used to frame them. As a prosecutor, it is not my place to decide who's guilty and who's not. I won't engage in corruption, even if it's to counter corruption from another noble house. I'm sorry.
You know where Miriam is right now?
Did you not hear what I just said? You can't let her think that there's even the slightest possibility you'll indict her. She'll bring the entire wrath of House Frege down on you. I won't be able to protect you if that happens.
I don't need your protection, and I can't do anything for Wallace unless I know everything that happened. Frege has the last piece I need to put everything together.
Well, I suppose I don't have much of a choice, do I? Her dormitory is room 107. I imagine that she'll be there considering the classes are suspended.
Thank you, Steelwind.
If I don't tell you, I'm sure you'll probably just find out using some other means. But please, Mr. Cuthbert, exercise caution.
This has been... The thing that I've loved is, like, there's just been corruption behind everything. There is one thing, though, that the entire fact that we had the, like, I feel like this construct is going to be used, but then we also have this one. The fact that they keep the logs. I genuinely am like, I want to be able to use that. Well, let's go to Miriam. Okay, this is feeling a little bit too Eris levels. So I'm not, I genuinely don't remember which one's House Frege. Was that I can't remember if that's tarot. I followed Steelwind's directions and found Miriam Frege's dorm room. The dorm leading inside seemed a lot more ornately decorated than the other rooms. I went to knock on the door and not realizing it was only partially closed. As my fist came into contact with the wood, I accidentally pushed it open. As the door swung open, I made eye contact with the girl inside. She seemed to be sitting at the desk, but now she was staring at me stunned. Slowly saw her expression shift from a puzzled look to a fierce and violent scowl.
Excuse me, how dare you barge into my room?
Sorry, I was trying to knock, but
Construct, remove these hoodlums from my room.
Acknowledged. In the corner of the room, an arcane construct stood up and began charging towards me at a terrifying speed. Before I even knew what was happening, it raised its fist to strike me. Flustered, I fell back and raised my arms to shield myself, and closed my eyes, bracing for the impending impact, but instead hear the clank of steel striking stone. Confused, I opened my eyes to see Celeste standing between the construct and me.
Did you forget that you hired a bodyguard? Did you forget that you hired a bodyguard?
Seriously. Her sword was drawn, and it was locked with the construct's fist. Despite the construct's imposing size and strength, Celeste was slowly pushing it back. Upon taking a closer look at Celeste, the girl narrowed her eyes.
Construct, stand down.
Acknowledged.
I'm terribly sorry for that. I wasn't aware that this man was your servant.
Celeste's hand was firmly clenched around the hilt of her sword, but she put it away without another word.
I haven't noticed you around campus. Are you another student?
The academy...
What are you talking about?
It's an opportunity. Yes, my master just enrolled here recently.
What?
Celeste squinted at me confused. I just tilted my head towards Miriam.
Yes, I just started here. I take it you're Miriam Frege? Yes, it seems that my reputation precedes me.
Spoiled daughter of House Frege, one of the four pillars, extremely arrogant, but it seems to excel at her studies at the Imperial Academy. I can't imagine she has many genuine friends.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, lady. I'm Celeste. Celeste.
She caught herself, pausing for what was a very awkward moment.
Steelwood. I'm Celeste Steelwood.
Oh, you screwed yourself over, girly pop. Was she serious? There was no way Miriam was going to believe.
Steelwind? It's a pleasure to meet another member of such an esteemed house.
Wait, she's actually buying this.
I just moved in and thought I should introduce myself. Why didn't you pick the one with the transmutation? Because she's gonna ask for the book, and then it's like, your transmutation, that, like, you would be like a bastard child in the Steelwind. I don't know what Steelwind's magic is. Seeing as you're the top student in the field of conjugation.
Conjuration.
Yes.
Well, there was no backing out now. Miss Frege, I was wondering if we could ask you some questions about—
Excuse me, I don't believe anyone has permitted you to speak.
Oh, here we go. Celeste was still smiling, but I could faintly hear her grinding her teeth together.
So, we heard about what happened to Professor Bellwether. I can't believe it. Yes, it's quite tragic what happened to her. She had always been a friend of House Frege.
She was obviously going to be more receptive to Celeste Steelwind. Yeah, it might be better to let Celeste take the lead on the questioning.
We heard that you saw her on the day of the murder? Could you tell us more about what happened? Oh, you heard about that from your relative, did you? If you don't mind me asking, why are you so interested? You know, I'm just curious is all. You know how uneventful life can be sometimes, being a noble and all.
Alright, you really needed to turn it down.
Oh, is that all? I was worried you were going down the path as that poor, confused Arya. Well, I'm in the middle of a study break anyway. I suppose I have some time to spill some tea. Speaking of, Construct, please prepare us some tea. Use that lotus tea we imported from the Eastern Kingdoms.
Acknowledged.
Lotus tea? You have lotus juice?
I can feel myself slowly losing control of the situation.
I heard that you were one of the last people who saw the professor. Where did this happen? I was in the hallway when I saw her coming out of the headmaster's office. She appeared to be heading towards the library. Do you remember what time this happened? I'm not really sure, honestly. It's a little embarrassing, but I have a bad habit of getting too absorbed in my work. Sometimes entire hours will pass without my notice. Do you have a rough idea at least? I believe it was in the morning.
So it was before her meeting with the headmaster.
Did anything seem off about her? No, it was a short encounter. I merely greeted her and she responded in kind.
That thought just now, what did it mean? Slowly glanced at Celeste that caught her attention. Using small emotions as she shook her head, Miriam was holding something back.
Were you and the professor really on good terms? I heard she was pretty mean towards the other students. Towards the riffraff, maybe, but not to students like us. She was my professional instructor during summer break. She fulfilled a similar role to my sister when she studied here. She was a longtime friend of House Frega. That's why we were planning on appointing her as the new headmaster. Wait, what did you say? Did you say you were going to appoint Bellwether as the new headmaster? Oh, I'm surprised you didn't know. House Frega holds several seats on the Academy's board, along with the Grand General. We were making plans to have her replace that lout, Redmond.
They were going to sack the headmaster?
Did Headmaster Redmond know about this? Of course not. This was part of a large-scale plan. Along with Redmond, we were also going to replace all of the staff with arcane constructs. We had to keep everything under wraps, or else the help would have left before we were ready. And where would that leave us?
But Jan supposedly overheard Bellwether talking about the constructs. Did Bellwether prematurely reveal the plan to Theodore? Or was Jan lying about how he found out? Wait, Theodore. Wait, which one's Theodore? Wait, is that Redmond? Okay, that's Redmond.
But, alas, with Bellwether gone, we have to delay our plans.
Let's see if she has anything else to give us.
So, we heard that Arya took your rapier as evidence for the case. Can you believe her? She still won't give it back to me. My father will have my head if I can't get it back soon. How did it even become a part of the investigation anyways? I don't know. Arya won't tell me anything. I swear, if that necromancer was the one who stole it, I'll execute him myself. So someone did steal it from you? Yes, from right out of my room.
Was this Eris? There's something in my mind that is like... Hold on, what is... Like, I'm wondering if Eris is... Because, like, we have a lot of political intrigue. So, like, Eris... Because she's not a scholarship student like Wallace. But she's not, like... They're not one of the big four houses. So she's able to bring Miriam down. In order to bring up... like, their family, like, the Ilmater family. Like, could that be something? Like, I don't know exactly where Eris's, like, house family is, whether they're, like, high up, or whether they're just a family that has magic. But I assume that something like this, like, exposing the corruption in House Frega, where it, even if it's, like, they're able to hide it, like, you're going to have such backlash from the common people, and especially when it's, like, oh, they were going to send an innocent child who had magic. And honestly, Wallace, like, even though, like, you can look and be like, oh, he's a necromancer, when you, like, if, like, anyone who's able to get his story, specifically Eris, who has it, considering that, you know, Wallace and, I think it was Emily, were, like, scholarship students, like, they were both from, like, there is very much that, like, you know, of the people. And because, like, he wanted to use his magic to heal people and to help people, which would have definitely more than likely been done at the commoner level. Like, that very well, like, making it seem like the Frega family killed this person who would have helped the commoners, you know, killed Bellwether, who potentially may or may not have actually been blackmailing Miriam, but framing Wallace for it. And, like, even if, like, you know, they don't go after, it's enough
to get the people to go after House Frege, which would end with probably all of House Frege on spikes. And then Ilmater could take control following. Because we've seen a few times where Eris has literally manipulated people. So I'm wondering if she learned about, like, potentially Bellwether taking control and had her say something to Redmond. Or, you know, something like that.
When did this happen? About a few weeks ago. I noticed when I came back from one of my classes. Someone removed the rapier from its display case in my room. Why do you have it on display? In here? How did they get into your room in the first place? You think someone used magic to teleport past the door? Please, I'm a master of conjuration magic. If someone attempted that, my enchantment would have shunted them out.
That meant that the thief came from one of the doors or windows.
I bet it was that necromancer. I'm sure a street child like him just knows how to pick a lock. I heard that you're one of the Academy's top students. Your grades must be amazing. Of course. As an inheritor of House Frege, my grades are impeccable.
Oh, strange. I didn't see any contradictory through the eye this time. Was she just delusional about how good a student she was? I gestured to Celeste to continue pressing her.
What kind of magic do you study here? You must be joking. I study magic from the School of Conjuration. Just like most members of my house.
The School of Conjuration? That's the type of magic that specializes in spatial manipulation, right?
Yes, I consider myself quite the expert in that field. Why, the Crown Prince has asked for my assistance in a research study.
Again, I didn't see any thoughts that contradicted what she was saying. If she was smart enough to get the Crown Prince's attention, why would she be cheating? Here's the thing. We have knowledge of this stuff, but we don't have any of... But, like, what exactly does the evidence say?
You said something about my wayward relative before? Were you talking about Arya? I'm terribly sorry if I offended you. And I'm sure it must pain you to see the way she's been acting lately.
Yes, it's been extremely hard. Hang in there, Celeste.
Did you know that she even interrogated me about the murder yesterday? Can you believe it? A Steelwind, running around a crime scene like a common knight? Why, if I tried something like that, my father would disown me. She's so desperate to prove that she's nothing like her father.
Okay. I'm not working with my father. Is that why she became a prosecutor? Was it all to reject her bloodthirsty father? Honestly, she probably thinks she could do anything just because of her betrothed.
But if the Grand General keeps drowning these villages in blood, I imagine even that will be in jeopardy.
Ooh! Celeste's eyes perked up. I'd be lying if I said mine didn't too. I was also curious about who this Aster was. But I shook my head when she looked at me. Couldn't risk blowing our covers for some gossip about the prosecutor. But you know who we can ask later? We can ask Arya.
You have an arcane construct in your room? I thought they were only in the library and locker room.
This construct was a gift from House Von Sanctus. I have to say, they're quite convenient to have around.
They look really cool. Maybe I should get one.
You should. A construct would be far more useful than this attendant of yours.
Yeah, maybe. Unfortunately, there are still some issues with their intelligence.
Their intelligence?
It happens when you give them complex commands. It might be easier to show you.
Miriam turned to the construct and began beckoning it over.
Construct, please retrieve my textbooks and bring them here. Then cast Steelwind Strike at this location. After that, retrieve some plates and set them out at this table.
Acknowledged. What? Construct stood up and retrieved Miriam's textbooks from one of the shelves in the room, brought them to the table they were sitting at just as she ordered, but then it suddenly stopped.
Wait, what happened? The construct obviously can't cast Steelwind Strike, so my second command was impossible to carry out. But did you notice something else?
It ignored your third command too.
Exactly. My third command was possible to carry out. Constructs execute a series of commands in the orders that they are given. But let's say one of those tasks is impossible to complete. When the construct gets to the task, it will deem the entire series impossible to complete. As a result, it will stop executing the series altogether.
Okay. Lady Steelwind, I'm afraid we must leave now if we want to make our next engagement.
Oh, right. Let's go, servant. Oh, leaving already? It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, sure. See you around. Made my way back to the warrior with Celeste. With all the time we spent, we only had a brief amount of time before night fell. But luckily, we found a lot during our investigation.
Are you sure you didn't want to talk to her more? We were getting a lot out of her.
I already got a lot of useful information out of her. The more time we spend with her, the more likely she is to see through our ruse and warn the prosecution.
Right.
So, why Steelwind?
I don't know. I panicked. I don't remember any of the other houses' names.
Pierce would have had a lower profile.
I'm not using that creep's name.
Hopefully, Steelwind doesn't mind us borrowing her name.
And we got her statement on what she saw that day.
There's also what she said about her rapier.
I bet she was lying when she said it was stolen. She was probably just trying to establish an alibi.
I'm not so sure.
Why do you say that? Doesn't it feel too obvious? If she was lying about the rapier being stolen, that would imply she planned all of this in advance. But if she had to choose a murder weapon, why would she choose something that literally has her family's name on it? I understand if the murder was a spur-of-the-moment decision and somehow occurred in her dorm room. In a situation like that, she might have just used something nearby. But if this was a premeditated murder committed by Miriam, that rapier would be the last weapon she would choose. Right, I guess that makes sense. There's also the evidence of academic dishonesty. It doesn't match up with what we heard from Miriam. I mean all that stuff about working with the Crown Prince? She was probably just making things up just to look good in front of me.
I have an insight when it comes to things like that. Under certain circumstances, I can usually tell when someone's lying. I'd be able to see through a lie as grandiose as that. People could subconsciously shield themselves from the eye of Horus even if they didn't know about it. When they did that, I wouldn't be able to see any thoughts from them. I saw that she was lying about her encounter with Bellwether. I would have seen dissonant thoughts if she were lying about her grades too. Well, I guess your insight has never failed us before.
What does this mean?
I don't know. Even with everything we've found, I'm not sure who the real culprit is. At the very least, I think we should still try to pull Miriam onto the stand. If she testifies in court, I might be able to find something I can use. But that was a big maybe. She was the daughter of the Duke of Finance.
Oh, okay, now I remember. He was the other one was Von Sanctus. Okay. No, it was it's not... Okay.
Now I'm remembering. If I didn't play my cards right, that move could spook the judge enough to make him end the trial then and there.
Wait, do we have time to kill? You want to head back to the library? You could continue your research.
She was fidgeting with her hands. Her feet were already shuffling towards the library doors. You just want to read Daggerfall, don't you?
It's death at Daggerfall, and it's a great series.
Every time I try to pick up one of those books, I figure out who the killer is in the first few chapters.
Yeah, well, I'm a normal human being, okay? I'm not some murder-solving prodigy. Why don't you go read one of those Rafe-bound books? Maybe you'll find the unpublished sequel there, too.
Celeste, the series has been finished for centuries. Nobility plague... Lights are nearly...
Like, I think it's like you. What's wrong? I can't stop thinking about what Wallace said about Cor and Bloomfield. Look, I get that you really like that series, but they're just books, Tyrion. They're more than that to me. Those books inspired me to do what I'm doing now. Wait, a story about the magic sword, light swords that inspired you to become a defense attorney? A long time ago, I experienced firsthand how corrupt Wyvern Guard is. Started assuming that nobles would always win. Those books made me want to believe in a world where good could triumph over evil against all odds. And if I never had that, I don't know if I'd be here today. I get that, but Wallace really cares a lot about necromancy too. We've been feeling the stigma against it for this entire case. Is it really so hard to believe that those books contributed to how bad things are for him? You said it yourself, it's one of the most popular books out there. do you even know what kind of person Corin Bloomfield was?
Not really. Are we gonna get into something where it's like the author is a shitty person, but like, you know, because they did so much for like art development, like it's hard for us to separate the art from the artist? Is that what we're getting into? Because I can think of someone. Actually, I can think of two people off the top of my head who are like, they technically did a lot for the genres that they wrote in, but they were just both terrible human beings. And the fact that I call them human beings sometimes, I'm like, that might be being a little bit too nice. Oh. I think I accidentally hit something by mistake. Let me double check.
So, oh gosh. So he could have paid off the nobility to write those books.
No, someone who did that could never write something so beautiful. I'll grant you that it's likely he played into harmful stereotypes about necromancers, but I'm sure it was just some unfortunate mistake. I'm sure there are historical records that will note his many good deeds and contributions to society. How have you not looked this shit up if this is like your like all-time favorite author? You've never done like a deep dive hyperfixation into them? Tyrion, what is wrong with you? You make it seem like you're normal.
Maybe if I show Wallace that, he'll understand that he wasn't all that bad. Sure.
I looked over to her, but she was already shuffling towards the entrance to the library. Alright, let's just go.
Woohoo!
She barely acknowledged me. She flung open the doors to the library and ran inside.
Can we get the contract that gives us proof that Wallace was here? Can we get the logs?
By the time I entered the library, she was already sitting at the table, her eyes unglued to the unpublished manuscript. Alright, where to start? Here we go. Corin Bloomfield's autobiography.
1 hour later. Ugh, that hour flew by. I still couldn't finish. Oh my god, how many books did you get?
He was a Steelwind, Celeste.
What? He wasn't just paid by the nobility. He was of the nobility.
Is that in the historical records?
No! It's all one giant conspiracy. I found his old submissions to writing competitions that he made under his original name. The prose he used back then matches his style too closely. It's uncanny when you compare them. Some of these submissions even contain stories that he later used and polished and red bound. How did you even... His real name was Lorenzo Steelwind, born in the year 208. He deserted the army and was stoned by his family, but he paid them off, Celeste.
Oh, they paid him off, Celeste. Oops.
He saw that the masses liked his writing. They corrupted him. They used his artistry as a weapon to turn the public against necromancers. And then he just went with it. They dangled his inheritance in front of him like a carrot on a stick. Tyrion, what in the actual hell? We've only been here for an hour.
This is the hyperfixation I wanted. This is the hyperfixation I was expecting. Good job, Tyrion.
I know. If I just had more time, if I could find enough evidence to prove this once and for all, I'm sure I could take a few more hours to what, Tyrion? No. Wallace's trial is tomorrow morning.
Lord, how can I forget?
It's fine. Let's just...
Wallace won't want to hear about what I found out.
Okay, whatever. Let's just go home. Not could remain concealed, Celeste. Sure, Tyrion. You did great. Good job.
Not could remain concealed. I love this. This is so much fun. Alright, let's keep going. Because unfortunately, it seems like the trials are like 30 minutes and then the investigations are like an hour long. And so it's just, it screws me over so much. Because I'm like, I could cut them short, but I like trying to do like the hour. And I'm like, I don't think I could do an hour and a half long. Especially with like trying to do voices, it would not work well for me.
What?
I know. I wouldn't believe it if I had seen all the pieces by myself.
That makes so much sense.
Steelwoods have always seen that necromancers as a threat to their power. Guys.
But to think that Bloomfield was originally part of their family. I know, right? It's cruelly insane when you think about it.
Guys, focus.
Wallace is on trial for murder right now.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I don't know what came over me.
After I quit you, do you want to talk more about what I found?
Yes.
Alright, don't lose that confidence, I guess.
Oh, this is so fun. Let's hope that this one is actually 30-ish minutes so we can wrap it up today, but we'll see. A court is now resumed for the trial of Wallace Nightgrave. During yesterday's trial, it was revealed that the traces of necromancy might not have been left by the defendant. It may have been left by a witness who cast necromancy in an attempt to heal the victim. However, the victim was seen by witnesses well after her time of death. It could only be explained if someone had used necromancy to animate the victim's body, which begged the following question. If the victim had been raised as an undead in order to walk to Lecture Hall 2B, where did the murder actually take place? Does the prosecution have an answer for this?
Based on the testimony of several witnesses, it is very likely that the murder took place in the library.
Interesting. What led you to this conclusion, Miss Steelwind?
First, I'd like to remind the court where the victim was sighted before the body was found. It began when the victim had a meeting with a headmaster near the center of the building.
Meeting was scheduled at 12.
That brings us to the statement of the next witness, a student at the academy. This student saw the victim walking in the hallways. Which means that our first witness saw Bellwether leave the headmaster's office.
Wait, didn't we have something where she was going to see the headmaster? Like she was going to that meeting when she left us. Am I just not remembering this correctly? I for some reason have that memory, but also like it's been a couple weeks.
Which means our first witness saw Bellwether. Okay. Presumably, this would have happened after her meeting there. That would time the encounter at around 1 p.m. The other event is the discovery of the body, which was when Valentina Iannis contacted security.
The Arya voice is not coming.
As we've already established, this event occurred at 3:04 p.m. But the significance of this time is with what occurred before the body was discovered. The second witness, a member of the cleaning staff, spotted the victim in the West Wing hallway. This means that this encounter must have happened no later than 2:30 p.m. And this implies that the victim was near the library between 1 p.m. and 2:30 p.m. According to the defendant's statements, he was in the library during this time period. Furthermore, the time of death was at 2:01 p.m. This means that Mr. Hughes saw the victim's animated body.
But it wouldn't. Okay, so that's... Wait, where is it? It can't speak. Okay. I swear that she had the meeting, like, well, we met her. It was before it. Oh, sure. I see. What do you have to say in your defense, Mr. Cuthbert? The prosecution's argument is definitely well thought out, Your Honor. However, it is entirely predicated on the testimony of all the witnesses involved. Stealing seduction had to have a hole somewhere, and since our conversation yesterday, I had a feeling that Miriam was hiding something. I wanted to get to the truth. I would need to drag that out of her through a cross-examination. Your Honor, to test the validity of these claims, the defendant would like both of these witnesses to testify. The defense calls Miriam Frege to the stand. Frege? At the mention of her name, the judge's face turned a bit pale, fidgeted with his gavel, looking towards the bailiff and then towards Steelwind.
I had a feeling it would come to this.
Do you have any objections, Miss Steelwind?
I do not, Your Honor.
Very well. Bailiff, please escort Lady Frege to the stand.
Witness, please state your name and occupation for the— You little snakes! How dare you deceive me?
Oh, it looks like she found out.
I had the opportunity to debrief the witness beforehand. Miss McCoy, I ask you to exercise discretion. I do not imply that you should impersonate a member of my family.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I gave you all the tea that I imported from the Eastern Kingdoms. I demand that you return it to me. No, you gave it to me. It's legally mine now. Anyways, Miriam, could you please testify to the court about your encounter with the victim? Fine.
Oh, this is...
I was working on a research project in my dorm room and I decided to take a break. I left my room and went on a walk. That's when I saw Professor Bellwether exiting the headmaster's office. She was walking in my direction, so I greeted her and she responded in kind. After that, she headed towards the library. A short while time after that, I went back to my room and continued my work.
I see, so it was only a brief encounter.
However brief it was, the witness's testimony verifies two things. One, that Miriam saw the professor exiting the headmaster's office. The other was that she witnessed the victim headed towards the library. This gives us a rough timeline of where the victim was before her death.
That does seem consistent. Did Bellwether really enter the library after her meeting? I feel like I would have seen her if she did. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Let's press this because we know that she was already pissed off about this. Let's throw her off. Did anything seem off about her?
No, but it was a very short encounter. It's not as if we stopped to have a conversation.
You said that you greeted her and she responded. What did she say?
Why is that important?
Miss Frege, it's possible that someone used illusion magic that day. Every detail about the victim's interactions could be important.
Well, I did bid her good morning. She said good morning in response.
Did you see her enter the library?
I didn't, but there's not much else in that direction.
Hold on. I need the map because I don't remember what this place looks like at all. So, I mean, there's all the lecture halls and everything. Like, I don't know where the dorms are at all.
From the testimony on Hughes, we know that she later came from the library. Even if she didn't enter the library, she was still in that area for more than an hour.
How long did you leave your dorm room?
Only for a few minutes. I try not to let my breaks go for too long.
And you didn't see the professor again after your first encounter?
No, I did not.
Her testimony seems straightforward, but she still could be lying. I'm honestly not sure. We'll just have to focus on her statements about how Bellwether acted. And you're sure that you saw her exit the headmaster's office?
Yes, I remember it clearly. I was surprised that she was still meeting with the headmaster after all.
She must have referred to her family's plot to replace him.
Did you interact with the professor at all, Miriam?
We don't really have any evidence to, like, push.
Objection!
Oh, I did not mean to hit that. Okay, I did not mean to hit that. Going back and then I accidentally hit it. Was this research project a part of your schoolwork?
It was an independent study to develop a new conjuration spell formula. The project is being sponsored by the Crown Prince himself. I wasn't aware that he was involved in such a study. Of course you wouldn't. Did you expect to know every aspect of his life, dear Arya?
I sense some hostility.
If you don't keep an eye on him, House Frege might just steal him back from you. As if His Highness would align himself with your rapacious family again.
Our
banking houses form the economic infrastructure of our kingdom, but perhaps he'll come to the steel winds if he needs to massacre a village of commoners.
With all due respect, maybe we please focus on the matter at hand.
Of course, Your Honor.
Okay, we did this one, did this. Could we say the fact that, like, the greeting was this, but, like, we know that it wasn't? Because, like, wait. Oh, here it is. So she saw her here. That was 2:30.
could we use this? Like, my thing is, I'm not 100% sure what we could be using.
Because she doesn't do illusion magic. There's a tiny part of me that is like, do we use her reputation to question?
I don't know. This doesn't feel like it's it.
Objection!
This doesn't feel like it's it at all.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay, I wonder, because it's like the questioning with like the... I wonder if we bring this up. I have absolutely no idea. It's either this or this. We'll try this.
Objection!
Nope. Okay. So based off of... I had to literally look up the walkthrough to figure this out. But basically, we have to take Steelwind's deductions and throw it back in her face here. Nothing seemed off. Short encounter.
This is supposedly where we're supposed to do it.
Objection!
Miss Frege, if I recall correctly, you have a habit of getting absorbed in your work. So much so that you'll even lose track of the time of day.
If I recall correctly, you pulled that information out of me through your lies.
Regardless, earlier in today's proceedings, the prosecutor made the following argument. Miss Frege, if you had said good morning to the professor, you would have been mistaken. Because that encounter could have only happened during the afternoon.
Oh, that's what it... I did not pick up on the good morning aspect at all, that it was 1 p.m. Oops. And your point is... You said it yourself, Mr. Cuthbert. The witness simply lost track of time.
What the witness said isn't what's important here. The significance is what the professor said in response. She had just come out of a meeting that was scheduled for noon and ran for an hour. She would have been well aware there was no longer morning. Couldn't she have corrected the witness?
Their encounter was extremely short, and the victim's mind may have been preoccupied. She could have easily responded to the witness without thinking. I'm going to be honest, I kind of agree with her. It's not hard to believe that they were both confused about the time.
It's definitely a stretch, but I couldn't shake the feeling that Miriam was hiding something. Every time I ask her about how Bellwether acted that day, the Eye of Horus reads a suspicious thought. There had to be something there. Miss Frege, you haven't been entirely truthful in your testimony, have you?
That's absurd! What reason would I have to lie?
Every detail about how she acted is important, Miss Frege. Why aren't you telling us?
Mr. Cuthbert, you have no basis to accuse the witness of perjury.
Yes, you will stop this at once. Miss Frege, you're lying about how Bellwether responded to your greeting, aren't you?
All she did was yell.
Miss Frege, is it possible that Bellwether's response was less than friendly?
What do you care? What difference does it make?
My job is to make sure every part of your testimony is truthful. Every detail matters, no matter how seemingly insignificant. Mr. Cuthbert, you will stop this, or I will find you in contempt. The professor yelled at you, didn't she, Miss Frege?
Yeah, so what if she did? I mean...
I'm sorry, but we all clearly heard what you just said. So, you do admit that she yelled at you.
You impotent little. Yes, I'll admit it. The professor didn't greet me that day. Oh, good morning, Professor. Be quiet.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Isn't the... Wait, what did she say to you? She said be quiet. Okay. Okay, here's my thought. Now, we have... Not necrotic blight, where is it? Animate corpse. Wait. If it's this one line, the minions can't speak, but the constructs use the voice of Catherine. Did Redmond do this? Redmond killed her, put one of the construct doodads. Because there's the inactive one here. Like, there has to be, like, the, illuminary doodad thing. What's the thing? Like, the little, like, piece that's in the construct. So it wouldn't be able to say anything. It's literally all the same thing, because why would she say to Jan, be quiet with the vase? That's what that's where I'm at right now. I think it's Redmond. Sorry. We had to stop there.
She yelled at me to be quiet. But until then, we had always been nothing but courteous with each other. I don't know what got into her that day, but something had put her in a foul mood. But that's it. Everything else I said was the truth. I did see her come out of the headmaster's office and walk towards the library.
So she wasn't lying about that.
So, is that all, Mr. Cuthbert?
What do you mean, is that all?
You badgered the witness, all so you could prove what, exactly?
The witness committed perjury.
The witness changed a small detail of her testimony. A detail that is inconsequential to the case. It was clearly an act with no malicious intent.
Just seeing her thoughts, I was difficult to disagree with that. I was so sure that the eye would give me a thread to pull on, but she was only lying to save face.
The witness saw the victim leave the headmaster's office and head toward the library. Do you really have any concrete evidence to refute that, Mr. Cuthbert?
No, I guess not.
Oh, wait, is this really okay? At this rate, this will be the only chance you have to cross-examine her.
I don't think she's lying anymore, and I was really pushing my luck earlier. If I continue pressing her, the judge might actually charge me with contempt. But if Miriam wasn't the one who was lying, then... The defense has no further questions for the witness, Miss Steelwind. The prosecutor stayed silent for a while. She looked almost disappointed.
Very well, Miriam. You are dismissed.
Miriam shot me a look of disdain, but she left the room without protest. Here's the thing. I genuinely, it now makes sense that Redmond killed Bellwether. Because Bellwether was coming for his job, replacing every human with an arcane construct, probably going to dismantle every ounce of, like, you know, the scholarships and everything. So anyone that basically was a commoner that had magic was going to be booted. So everything that he had built up. And I'm wondering if the academic fraud, like... My thing is this. This has kind of been... Is it possible that Bellwether wasn't the one who was going to be pushing this, but Redmond? Judge let out a sigh as the young noble was escorted out of the room. As if he was expecting a young noble to literally explode at any moment.
Now, with that out of the way, what else do you have, Mr. Cuthbert?
The only way to refute the prosecution's theory was to cast doubt on one of the witnesses. If it wasn't Miriam, then Steelwind, to test your theory, we must question every witness who saw the victim that day. So, with that said, the defense would like to call Jan Hughes to the stand.
I hope you understand, Mr. Cuthbert. Your entire case rests on the assumption that one of the witnesses' accounts is incorrect. If your cross-examination of Mr. Hughes leads nowhere, then I hope you're ready to concede.
I don't like the sound of it, but she was right. Unless I could find something in Jan's testimony, I wouldn't have a case at all.
Bailiff, please bring in Mr. Hughes.
And that is where we're ending the episode. I hope y'all enjoyed. This has been really fun to get into. I don't know if this is, or the next episode will be the last one for this case. Because again, playing it blind, so I really don't know. But I feel like we're hitting something. But I feel like we also have more investigating that we have to do. Because Eris is just, there is something with Eris. And I'm also wondering too, if there's the possibility of Eris and Redmond working together. Because we have the illusory magic. So I'm not sure. But then again, we have absolutely nothing about Redmond.
Oh wait, he uses illusion. Okay, no, that totally makes sense. But the only thing is why would he like? And again, I did say that he was letting him do it in an attempt, you know, something to benefit him. And I wonder if he knew that Valerie was a necromancer, and potentially trying to place the blame on him. Or Wallace. Because at the end of the day, even though he made the scholarship, they also they have to benefit him. That's kind of my theory. But we'll figure out next time. Hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see y'all then. Bye.